Squad-wise, how are you?
Well, we had Seamus Coleman. He's come through training really well, alongside of obviously all the players that they had little niggles and little knocks. So Antolin, is gonna be out of the weekend, but it's nothing to be worried about. It's just trying to get him back to full fitness. And Romelu Lukaku is gonna be out for this weekend, and probably for the week after. So it's a couple of weeks for Rome. I don't expect to be any longer. He's been recovering really well from the treatment. He's back in Belgium now, and everyone else is fully fit and available, apart from the three long-term absentees of Brian, Aruna, and Darren.
Where's Darren up to now?
Darren Gibson is progressing really well. I do feel that's going to be back before the season ends. Something that is a real bonus. Maybe it's a bit too early to give a little bit of a clear date when he'll be back, but I expect him to be playing again in May, which is just credit to his hard work and the way he's been recovering. So really pleased with that. And Aruna Kone will be very similar. I do expect Aruna to be involved as well before the season ends, which is a tremendous credit to the medical department.
And Ross has had no reaction. He was
No, Ross with Seamus, both they've been following their programs and is stepping up again. He's had a bit of pain, as you would imagine, but it's normal. So I expect Ross to be fully fit and available for Sunday.
In terms of what you want to achieve, how big a game is it?
Every game now is you get into that position. The final 14 games of the season, that's where every point has got an extra significance. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. You're gonna get a real clear indication that every result from now till the end of the season gonna show us which aim are we gonna work for and we're gonna fight for. Spurs again for me is one of the teams in form now since the new managers come in. They play with a real freedom. I don't think they got rid of that responsibility, if you want, or the tension of having a lot of money spent in the summer. And now it's the opposite. I think they got a very good group of players that they're trying to enjoy their football. They come out in games and they really express themselves. And I do feel that Spurs are a real difficult team to play against now, and it's going to be a terrific test.
You mentioned the money they've been able to spend. That Spurs are actually planning to extend their stadium. We see Manchester City could get planning permission as well next week to extend their stadium. Long term, how do you plan to be able to kind of keep pace and still compete with the likes of them?
Well, I think it's a great sign of our league. In general, you're looking around Europe and you don't see that. Maybe the German league is the only one that is got a good strategy and a good vision. All the other leagues, they're just going day by day, trying to get through it. I think in the Barclays Premier League now you get incredible strategies and really exciting years ahead for all the football clubs, and we're not different. I think internally we're getting very strong, and we are ready to build something special for the future. So it's not about when we're going to do it. It's just making sure that every day works in our favor. But financially, we're in a very good position. The squad is as strong as it's ever been, with the combination and the mixture of the senior figures with the young players. So I'm really excited about the future. I think we got many reasons for us to work as hard as we can behind the scenes, as we always do, to make sure that we got a bright future.
Does financial fair play though make it easier for those clubs to move away?
Not really, no. I think financial fair play will give you it's try to control clubs that they can spend money that they haven't really got. It's very important that we don't allow situations that they happen in the past, where the history of over 100 years of a football club, it gets vanished by a club badly managed, and fair play maybe will stop that. But finances and having new projects and people investing a lot of money, that's I think that's beneficial, and it helps the competition in the league. So I don't think anyone will get benefited. It's just every club will be protected to avoid something that you don't wanna see in a football club, which is people investing money that then you cannot repay, and you can get hurt in the future.
And Leighton Baines has spoken about the impact that you had and his decision to stay at the club. I just wonder, why do you think the transition has been so smooth? Everton haven't suffered in terms of league positions since the change of manager. Why has it gone so smoothly for you this season?
Down to the players. I think it's clear that a player, when you are in a dressing room, you can be open-minded, or you can find it difficult to face change. Remember that footballers are creatures of habits. They're not open to changes too easily, and our example is not the norm. You got a group of players that very confident in what they do, with great standards, and what they've done since day one is just been open about the new ideas and try to do as well as they could to help each other to be able to perform in every game we went into. So the answer is clear: is the credit to the players, the standards that they have. I think the senior players at the club, they're given a real good stability to what we do every day. Those players allow the new signings to come in and feel that they've been at the club for many years, and that allows to every change is a little positive, and it adds towards the group. So it's down to the players how well they adapted to change, and how flexible and how good they are with the daily standards.
And I suppose, as well as results, do you look at what people say about the way we're playing as well? I mean, Vertonghen says that he likes to watch Everton all the time because they play proper football.
Well, of course it is, yeah. I think I always said that winning football games is the most important thing, but for us, how you win those games is even more important, because it's the only way that you can achieve something special in the future. But it's important that we don't get ourselves in a position that we assess in the season when we face in the most important period, which is the last 14 games, and we need to make sure that we are finishing this season as strong as we've been. All the compliments are great, but in the same manner that we don't get too high when the critics are good, we don't get too low when the critics are bad. I think we are very consistent, and we know what we have to do to try to improve and get better, and I always feel that this group is so special, this dressing room is so special, that we haven't fulfilled our potential, and that gives you a real good direction of how the work should be done.
Just checking as well, Traore.
Yeah, Lassina is progressing really well. I just need to assess if it's wise or not to give him playing time. That's the only. He's fully fit from a medical point of view. It's just a matter of giving him the right playing time now over the next 2-3 weeks, because the last thing we want is to Lassina and push himself and get a little bit stretched, trying to get the tempo and the physicality of the Premier League, and then suffer as a result. So we're gonna make sure that he's fully fit when he's on the pitch. But he's been working really well. He's been a bit of a fresh air. Have him in the training pitch. He's got an incredible, hungry approach towards everything he does. So we're really excited to see him fully fit and see him on the pitch.
Will he travel this weekend?
He's got a chance.
Okay.
He's got a chance.
Roberto, you mentioned there about being excited getting him in training, but how excited are you about giving him his debut and getting him in Premier League action?
Really excited, because it's very different to what we got. When you see him straight away, it gives you a clear idea of what he can bring to the team. He's stronger than I thought. He's got an incredible appetite for his debut at Everton, and that impresses me. You don't get many players or foreign players that they come to a new club and they show that appetite for the league. And then after he watched the game, the last home game against Aston Villa, you could see him that he was desperate to be fit and be ready to help the team. So that's a pleasing aspect. Then you see Gerard Deulofeu coming back, and it looks like a fresh man, but a player that has never been away from Everton, and that excites me. I see the team now, after that little bit of a dip in terms of numbers, we are going to be as strong as we can be over the next 2 to 3 weeks, and that's really exciting.
From the bits that you've seen of Lassina in training, how much, and obviously scouting him as well, how much of a challenge is he going to be for opposing defenders? Because you've mentioned before he's good with his feet, but he's also so tall that you don't face many players like that.
No, you don't. I think his coordination for such a tall guy is quite rare. I think that's where his biggest strength is. Technically very gifted. The combination play in the final third is as good as he gets. Very good with his runs, and he's got a good goal scoring touch in front of goal. So as a striker, he's got all the attributes that you wouldn't expect to have in a tall guy, which why it makes him quite rare, because obviously he's got the physical presence to be a target man in open play as well. So he's a different player. He's a player that he brings extra competition. As you know, Romelu Lukaku has been one of the outstanding performers, not just at the club, in the league. So for us to have those two options, as well as the other players that they've been filling in those positions and performing well, like at the weekend, Stephen Naismith scoring and looking really, really bright. Kevin Mirallas fitting in really well is exciting. The amount of options that we have now is making this final third of the competition as exciting as it's ever been.
How much of a difference do you see in Tottenham from the team that came to Goodison Park and got the 0-0 draw at the start of the season?
Well, it's a good question. I don't think, in many ways, they are very similar, because they got the same personnel and they got strong footballing concepts that they maintain. And then in the other side, they're very, very different in the psychology of this side. I think this side is free. They enjoy their football. They got nothing to lose. They come out and they press high. They press with real intensity. And good energy. They're a good team on the counter-attack. They're a good team that they can do a little bit of everything. I think you're looking at the individuals, and they still trying to gel together. So it's a dangerous team, because I do feel that on the team Sherwood, this team has been developing, and I don't think we've seen the best image yet, and that's something that we hope that we can stop them on Sunday.
How much credit does Tim Sherwood deserve for making the team, making them play the way that they play, the bravery that they've got in going with it as well? Because maybe against Manchester City, it perhaps wasn't the right thing to do in hindsight, but he stuck to his guns and he decided that because the team was playing well in the style that they had, that they'd stick to that and not change to go up against an opposition.
Well, I think it's a learning curve for anyone. Obviously, as a manager, when you arrive into a new dressing room, you need to get to know the players, you need to get to know the partnerships, how strong the way of playing is, and that's going to take time. I think you're looking at the amount of positive results that they had in the last few weeks. It shows you that this team is getting stronger, is getting better. I don't think they've peaked yet this season. They've got a phenomenal squad of players. I think people forget that because maybe they haven't fulfilled the expectations that they had in the first third of the competition. People forget how strong this squad is, and you know that one day, whenever it is, maybe it could be next week, it could be at the end of the season, if this team clicks, it's going to be as good as it gets in the league. So we need to be well aware from our point of view that we don't let them be themselves, we don't let them enjoy their football, because if you do that, they are as dangerous team as you're going to get in the league.
Thank you.
Will De La Feu being the squad of the weekend, because is an issue for him as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he's desperate. Yeah, we would have a big problem if he's not in the squad.
You spoke earlier of the changes you've made this season and how players are sometimes not resistant to that but don't like change. But how have you managed the pace of change, and are you up to where you thought you would be in terms of implementing those changes?
No, you do. I think it's an exciting topic in terms of trying to change things. I always been very, very aware of the good qualities that this dressing room has, and obviously you don't want to lose that. And I think that's when you implement the change, is because you don't want to lose any of the good things, and slowly put in little tweaks and changes that they're going to help us and make us more diverse and have a big more dimensions in our play. And I think the change from week to week depends on how the group reacts, how the group adapts to it. But I always been very, very aware that I never wanted to lose all the good things that the dressing room has. And I think that's the way that we implemented the change, just very smooth and in a slowly manner, making sure that we didn't make it in a drastic way that it could become a negative. The last thing I wanted is to lose all the good things that this group has, and that's the way that I think change will be successful for us.
What do you do to retain the familiarity for the players in terms of obviously what they're used to and what they're expected of now?
It's quite easy, because obviously we maintain the influential players, the senior players in the dressing room. I think it's been vitally important for us that players like Leighton Baines and Sylvain Distin, they extended their contracts. We maintain players that they've been at the club for a long time. Leon Osman, Tony Hibbert, they've been influential. Tim Howard, Phil Jagielka, they're an important core of players that they know what it means to play for Everton, and they set the direction. Once you've got that, you got a real easy stability to base your work on. I think that's been very important. I think giving freedom to the youngsters and allow the senior players to give guidance to the youngsters, that's been that unknown quantity that as a team we've achieved in a very short period of time. But overall is credit to the players in the way that they handle the different ways of working and different way of trying to do things.
White Hart Lane was one of the venues for probably one of the lowest points of your managerial career. Does that ground still hold any personal nightmares for you? Do you still look back on that as that time, that 9-1?
No, it's the opposite. It's one of the biggest satisfactions that I've got as a manager. Obviously, as you mentioned, we had a massive defeat there, as big as a defeat as you're gonna get. First of all, that allowed us to find out a lot from that dressing room and allowed us to be successful at the end of the season. But more importantly, is the next 2 visits. We got 2 away victories at White Hart Lane, and that's a big thing in management. Is how you can overcome a big defeat and how you can make it as a positive after that. And for me, it's a big satisfaction to be able to lose a game with a big defeat and then go back and be one of the few teams to get a win. That's where the satisfaction arrives. It's not how you get defeated, it's how you bounce back and how